The Grand Galactic Council chamber floated in the darkness of space, a massive crystal structure that glowed with soft blue light. Inside, 47 alien species sat in a circle, their seats rising up like a giant amphitheater. At the bottom, standing alone, was Ambassador Han Minji from Earth. She wore a simple black suit, her dark hair pulled back tight. Around her, aliens of every shape and size whispered to each other. Some had scales, some had fur, others were just clouds of glowing gas held in containers. But they all had one thing in common today. They were all looking at her with the same expression: fear. The Archon stood up. It was a huge insect-like creature with wings that shimmered like glass. Its voice echoed through the chamber, translated instantly into every language. We are here to vote on the human question. Should Earth remain in the galactic community, or should they be expelled? Minji felt her heart pound, but she kept her face calm. She had known this was coming. The signs had been there for months. Closed meetings she was not invited to. Trade deals suddenly cancelled. Whispers in the corridors. A Viridian delegate spoke next, its body glowing brighter with emotion. Humans are dangerous. They have been here only 200 years, but already they change everything. They ask too many questions. They refuse to follow our traditions. They build weapons when we told them weapons are not needed. We built defensive ships, Minji said quietly. After 3 of our trading vessels were attacked by pirates. We asked for your protection and you did nothing. You advanced too quickly, another alien said, this one covered in silver scales. What took our civilizations 10,000 years, you did in 2 centuries. This is not natural. This is threatening. Minji wanted to laugh. Threatening? Earth had 12 colony worlds. The Viridian Collective had thousands. Earth's fleet had 200 ships. The Council combined had millions. But they were scared anyway. May I speak? Minji asked. The Archon clicked its mandibles, which meant yes. Minji looked around the chamber slowly. 5 years ago I came here with hope. My people sent me to make friends, to learn from you, to share what we had. We thought the galactic community was a place of equals, where all species worked together. She paused. Some of the aliens looked away. We were wrong. You never saw us as equals. You saw us as children who should sit quietly and be grateful. And when we grew too fast for your comfort, when we asked too many questions and built too many things, you decided we were a threat. The vote will now begin, the Archon announced, cutting her off. Minji watched the display board light up. Red lights appeared one after another. Each red light was a species voting to kick Earth out. The lights kept coming. 39 red lights. Only 7 green lights, species who voted to keep Earth. Those were the Ashkari, the Turellians, and 5 others who had become real friends with humans. The motion passes, the Archon declared. Earth is expelled from the galactic community. All humans must leave Council space within 30 days. All trade agreements are cancelled. All treaties are void. The chamber erupted in noise. Some aliens cheered. Others sat in silence. The 7 who had voted green looked sad. Minji stood very still. She touched a small device on her wrist, sending a coded message to Earth. Then she looked up at the Archon. You made your choice, she said. Her voice was soft, but everyone could hear it. The chamber went quiet. We came in peace. We stayed peaceful even when you cheated us, insulted us, and treated us like primitives. But you still saw us as a threat. She started walking toward the exit. Her footsteps echoed in the silent chamber. At the door, she stopped and turned around one last time. We will leave. We will take everything that is ours. And we will remember this day. She looked directly at the Archon. You did not expel us for what we did. You expelled us because you were afraid of what we might become. That was your mistake. The door closed behind her. On Earth, President Kim Dae-hoon read the message from Minji. He looked at the men and women in the room with him. Military leaders, scientists, intelligence officers. They all waited for his order. They voted us out, Dae-hoon said. Begin the withdrawal. Complete silence. Take everything. Tell them nothing. Fleet Admiral Park Ji-won stood up. And after we leave, sir? Dae-hoon's expression was cold. Then we stop pretending to be weak. The celebration in the council chamber lasted for hours after the vote. Delegates congratulated each other, relieved that they had removed the human threat before it grew too large. The Archon gave speeches about preserving galactic stability. The Viridians glowed brightly with joy. Even the normally quiet Thorans clicked their claws in approval. But 3 days later the mood changed. The first problem appeared in the Viridian trade zones. Every human trading ship, warehouse, and office simply vanished overnight. The Viridians had planned to seize all human assets, But when their officials arrived, the buildings were empty. Not just empty of people, but empty of everything. Furniture, computers, supplies, even the light fixtures were gone. How did they move so fast? The Viridian Commerce Minister asked, staring at the bare rooms. Nobody had an answer. On the colony world of Nexus Prime, home to 17 different species, human families received messages on their devices. Pack only personal items. Be ready in 48 hours. The instructions were simple and clear. Lee Salmon held her daughter's hand as they walked to the spaceport. They had lived on Nexus Prime for 8 years. Her daughter had been born here. Now they had 2 days to leave forever. Why do we have to go, Mom? Her daughter asked. Because we are not welcome anymore, Salmon said quietly. At the spaceport, thousands of humans lined up in perfect order. No shouting, no crying, no complaints. They just boarded the ships and left. The other species living on Nexus Prime watched in silence. Some felt guilty. Others felt relieved. But everyone noticed how organized the humans were. How calm. How cold. On Earth, Fleet Admiral Park Jiwon stood in the command center, watching data streams from across the galaxy. Every human ship, every human citizen, every piece of human equipment was moving. Coming home. Status report, she said. 92% of personnel evacuated, an officer replied. All military assets withdrawn to our territory. All research stations dismantled and removed. The Council will find nothing left behind. Jiwon nodded. Good. Maintain communication silence. If they try to contact us, do not respond. Admiral, the Ashkari are sending messages of support. They want to maintain relations. Log the messages. We will respond later. Right now, silence sends a stronger message than words. On the Council station, the Archon watched reports with growing concern. The humans were not protesting their expulsion. They were not asking for reconsideration. They were simply leaving, taking everything with them and saying absolutely nothing. Where are they going? The Archon asked its intelligence officer. The Outer Rim territories mostly. The frontier zones that we considered worthless because of the radiation from nearby pulsars and neutron stars. Why would they go there? The intelligence officer had no answer. Weeks passed. The 30-day deadline came and went. Every human was gone from Council space. But the problems were just beginning. Hospitals across the Viridian Collective started reporting equipment failures. The medical scanners that humans had designed stopped working, and nobody knew how to fix them. The agricultural colonies that used human irrigation systems watched their crops fail. Entertainment networks that had become addicted to human music and shows suddenly had nothing new. We did not realize how much we depended on their technology, a Thorin engineer admitted to his supervisor. They integrated their systems into everything, and now that they are gone, it is all breaking down. The Council's economic advisors presented dire reports. Trade between species had dropped by 30%. Innovation had slowed to almost nothing. The humans had not just been participants in the galactic economy. They had been the engine driving it forward. This is temporary, the Archon insisted. We survived for 10,000 years before humans arrived. We will adapt. But then the reports from the border region started coming in. Council ships sent to monitor the Outer Rim were disappearing. Not destroyed. Just gone. No distress signals, no debris, nothing. They entered the zones where humans had retreated and they never came back. Send a full reconnaissance fleet, the Archon ordered. Sir, what if the humans consider that an act of aggression? We voted them out. We did not declare war. They have no right to attack our ships. The reconnaissance fleet of 40 vessels departed 3 days later. They carried the best sensors the Council had, with orders to observe human activity and report back. 2 weeks passed. Not a single ship returned. The Archon stared at the empty star chart where the fleet should have been. Around the Council chamber, delegates who had celebrated the human expulsion now sat in worried silence. What are they building out there? Someone whispered. Nobody answered because nobody knew. And that terrified them more than anything. 18 months had passed since the vote. The Galactic Council was no longer celebrating. In the Viridian capital, Chief Medical Officer Ralda stood in a hospital watching children die. The human-designed medical scanners had completely failed and nobody could repair them. Traditional Viridian medicine was not advanced enough. 3 children had died this week alone. We need to contact Earth, Ralda said to his assistant. Beg them if we must. These are children. His assistant looked uncomfortable. The Council forbids it. And the humans are not responding to anyone anyway. They have gone completely silent. Raldas wanted to scream. Politics and pride were killing innocent people. The economic situation was worse. The Council's trade network had collapsed by 60%. Entire industries that depended on human innovation had simply stopped functioning. Food production was down. Medical care was declining. Even basic transportation systems were failing because human components could not be replaced. But the Council members still refused to admit their mistake. "This is just an adjustment period," the Archon insisted during an emergency session. "We will recover." Then Intelligence Director Kevlar presented his report, and the chamber went silent. "We have now lost 73 ships in the border regions," Kevlar said. "Not a single one has returned. No debris has been found. No distress signals received. They simply vanish." "What are the humans doing out there?" a Thorin delegate demanded. Kevlar activated a holographic display. It showed the Outer Rim territories where humans had retreated. Strange structures were being built around neutron stars. Massive constructs that dwarfed anything the Council had ever created. "We do not know what these are," Kevlar admitted. "Our best scientists cannot identify their purpose. The scale is unlike anything we have seen. Each structure is approximately 500 kilometers in diameter." "Weapons?" someone asked. "Perhaps. Or power collectors. Or something we cannot even imagine." Kevlar zoomed in on one structure. "What concerns me most is the speed of construction. They built this in 4 months. That should be impossible." The Archon's wings trembled with anxiety. "How many of these structures exist?" "We have confirmed 47. But that is only what we can see from our territory. There may be hundreds more." On Earth, in a secret facility deep underground, President Kim Dae-hoon met with Fleet Admiral Park Jae-won and Chief Scientist Bae Hyogen. "Show me," Dae-hoon said. Hyogen activated a hologram. "The neutron star collectors are operational. We are harvesting energy at levels that would take the entire Council combined 1,000 years to achieve. With this power we have built the fleet." The hologram shifted, showing ships. Massive vessels that made the old Earth fleet look like toys. "How many?" Dae-hoon asked. 2,000 warships completed. Another 5,000 in construction. Each one is more advanced than anything the Council has. Park Jae-won spoke next. "Our new propulsion systems make us faster. Our new weapons make us deadlier. Our new shields make us nearly invulnerable. And most importantly, we have developed countermeasures against every single Council technology. Because we spent 200 years studying them," Dae-hoon said quietly. "Learning their weaknesses while they thought we were primitive." "Yes, sir. We were always preparing for this possibility. We hoped we would never need these plans." Dae-hoon looked at the hologram of the new fleet. "They forced our hand." "What about their reconnaissance ships?" "We captured them all intact," Jae-won said. "Crews were sedated, ships were transported back to Council space and released near trading stations. No injuries. But we made sure they saw nothing useful." "And their response?" "They are mobilizing for war. The Archon is demanding that the Ashkari and other human sympathizers share intelligence about us. Some species are being threatened with sanctions if they do not comply." Dae-hoon nodded slowly. He looked tired. Older than his 50 years. "We did not want this. We genuinely came in peace." "I know, sir," Jae-won said. "But they made their choice, so now we make ours." Dae-hoon stood up. "How long until the fleet is ready?" 2 months, sir. Then we wait. Let them come to us. Let them make the first aggressive move. I want the entire galaxy to see that we are not the aggressors here." In Council space, the Archon made its decision. A fleet of 300 warships would be sent to human territory. Not to attack, the Archon claimed, but to observe. To ensure humans were not building weapons of mass destruction. Ambassador Han Minji, now promoted to fleet commander, received the intelligence report in her quarters. She read it twice, then walked to the command deck of her flagship, the Soul. "They are sending 300 ships to our border," she told her crew. "They call it observation. We know it is intimidation." "Orders, Commander?" her second officer asked. Minji looked at the view screen showing the stars of human space. Space they had built, claimed, and fortified in silence for 18 months. "We let them come. We let them see what we have become. And then we show them exactly what happens when you mistake patience for weakness." The Council fleet departed 3 days later, confident in their superior numbers. They had no idea what was waiting for them. The Council fleet arrived at the human border exactly 23 days after departing. 300 warships, representing the combined military might of a dozen species. The Archon commanded from the flagship Eternal Light, confident that this show of force would make the humans submit. What they found waiting for them made every sensor officer freeze in shock. A wall of human ships stretched across space. But these were not the small vessels the Council remembered. These were massive warships, each one twice the size of the Council's largest dreadnought. They floated in perfect formation, dark and silent, like predators waiting. "How many?" the Archon asked. "Scanning now," the sensor officer replied, his voice shaking. "Sir, I count 500 ships." "Now wait. More are appearing. They were hiding behind some kind of stealth field." "I now count 1,000. "No, 1,500. The Archon felt something cold settle in its chest. "That is impossible. They did not have this many ships 2 years ago. They built them, sir. Somehow they built them." A communication request came through. The Archon accepted it, and Fleet Commander Han Minji appeared on the screen. She wore a crisp military uniform, her expression completely neutral. "Archon," she said, "you are in human space. Turn back. We have the right to ensure you are not building weapons that threaten the galaxy," the Archon replied, trying to sound authoritative. Minji's expression did not change. "You voted us out. You severed all treaties. This is our territory now. You have no rights here. We have 300 warships. You cannot stop us from passing." "I have 2,000 warships," Minji said calmly. "And technology you cannot imagine. Turn back, Archon. This is your only warning." The Archon's pride would not allow retreat. "Advance the fleet." The Council ships moved forward. They had traveled barely 1 kilometer when every single ship suddenly went dark. Engines stopped. Weapons powered down. Life support flickered. Emergency lights barely illuminated the panicking crews. "What happened?" the Archon shouted. "Unknown, sir. Some kind of pulse weapon. It disabled everything. Even backup systems are not responding." On the human ships, not a single weapon had been fired. They had simply emitted a pulse of energy that shut down every piece of Council technology simultaneously. Then the human ships moved. With impossible speed, they surrounded each disabled Council vessel. Docking tubes extended. Boarding teams entered not with weapons, but with evacuation equipment. Within 30 minutes, every single Council crew member had been transferred to human medical bays. Not as prisoners. As rescued personnel. They received food, water, medical attention. Human medics treated injuries with efficiency and care. Nobody was harmed. The Archon found itself sitting in a clean, comfortable room aboard the Soul. The door opened and Minji walked in. She sat down across from the Archon, placing a data pad on the table between them. "You tried to intimidate us with 300 ships," Minji said. "We disabled all of them in 3 seconds without firing a single shot. Do you understand what that means?" The Archon said nothing, its wings drooping in defeat. "For 2 years we worked in silence. We took the energy from neutron stars and built infrastructure you considered impossible. We analyzed every weakness in your technology, every flaw in your ships, every gap in your defenses." Minji leaned forward. "We spent 200 years in your Council pretending to be less than we were. Learning from you. Studying you. And you never noticed. Why did you hide your capabilities?" the Archon asked quietly. "Because we came in peace. We genuinely wanted to be part of your community. But we are not fools. We prepared for the possibility that you would see our friendship as a threat." Minji stood up. "You made that possibility a reality." She activated the datapad. A holographic display showed Earth's new fleet. Thousands of ships. Weapons systems beyond Council understanding. Defensive shields that could withstand anything the Council could throw at them. "This is what 2 years of human innovation looks like when we stop holding back," Minji said. "When we stop trying to fit into your comfortable, stagnant civilization. When we unleash everything we are capable of." The Archon looked at the display with growing horror. "What do you want from us?" "The Council has 90 days to dissolve its current government and reorganize under new principles. True equality for all species. No more suppression of technological advancement. No more expelling members out of fear." Minji's voice was cold. "You will create a government based on cooperation, not control. And if we refuse? Then we will enforce it. We will disable every military ship you have. We will occupy every Council world. We will not kill anyone. We will not destroy anything. But we will remove your ability to threaten others ever again." The Archon's mind raced. "You would go to war against 47 species? We already won that war, Archon. You just did not know it was happening." Minji walked to the door. "We will return you and your crews to Council space unharmed. Your ships will be repaired and released. But understand this. We are not the species you expelled 2 years ago. We are not asking for your permission anymore. We are telling you how things will be. She paused at the door. You feared what we might become. Congratulations. You created exactly what you were afraid of. The door closed behind her, leaving the Archon alone with the terrible realization of what the Council had done. The Archon returned to the Council chamber with news that changed everything. The delegates listened in stunned silence as he described the human fleet, the technology, the complete and effortless defeat of 300 warships without a single shot fired. They gave us 90 days to reorganize our government, the Archon said quietly. Or they will do it for us. The chamber erupted in angry voices. This is an act of war, a Viridian delegate shouted. We have millions of ships across our territories, a Thorin added. We can overwhelm them with numbers. No, we cannot, the Archon said. The chamber went quiet. I saw their technology. I felt it. They are decades ahead of us. Maybe centuries. If we go to war, we will lose. Then we surrender to human tyranny? Someone asked. The Ashkari delegate stood up. She had voted against the expulsion 2 years ago. This is not tyranny. This is consequence. We created this situation when we expelled them out of fear. They offered friendship and we responded with rejection. Now they respond with strength. We must fight, the Viridian insisted. The Council voted for war. 47 species mobilized every ship they had. Millions of vessels, the largest military force ever assembled in galactic history. Surely they thought numbers would overcome technology. The war lasted exactly 11 days. On day 1, human ships appeared simultaneously at every major military staging area. They did not attack. They simply disabled everything. Ships lost power. Weapons went offline. Space stations went dark. And then human teams boarded every vessel, evacuated every crew, and left the ships floating in space like empty metal shells. On day 3, the Council tried a coordinated strike with 2 million ships attacking human territory at once. The result was the same. Every ship disabled in seconds. Every crew evacuated safely. Not a single death on either side. On day 7, the Council realized they were not fighting a war. They were being systematically dismantled. On day 11, human ships appeared in orbit over every Council homeworld. Fleet Commander Han Minji broadcast a message that every citizen in the galaxy could see. This is over, she said. Her voice was calm but firm. We have disabled your military. We have occupied your government centers. But we have not harmed a single civilian. We have not bombed a single city. We have not taken a single life. She paused, looking directly into the camera. We did not want this. For 200 years, we tried to be part of your community. We offered our friendship, our innovation, our help. You rejected us because you were afraid. You expelled us because you feared what we might become. And in doing so, you created the very thing you feared. Minji stood in the Council chamber now, the same room where she had been humiliated 2 years ago. Behind her, President Kim Dae-hoon and Admiral Park Jae-won stood silently. The old Galactic Council is dissolved, Minji continued. In its place, we established the new Galactic Compact. It will be built on 3 principles. First, no species can be expelled without the unanimous agreement of all members. Second, military action requires proof of actual aggression, not fear of what might happen. Third, technological advancement is encouraged and celebrated, not suppressed out of jealousy or fear. She gestured to the side, where the Ashkari delegate and representatives from the 6 other species who had supported humanity stepped forward. These species understood what you did not. That diversity makes us stronger. That innovation drives us forward. That fear is not a valid reason to punish others. They will join Earth as founding members of the Compact. Around the galaxy, billions watched. Some with relief, some with shame, some with anger. Every other species is invited to join us, Minji said. The terms are simple. Accept the new principles. Commit to genuine equality. And never again let fear dictate your decisions. Within a week, 40 species signed the compact. They had no choice really, but many signed with genuine hope for something better. 7 species, led by the proud and stubborn Kval Dominion, refused. They retreated to isolated systems, vowing never to accept human authority. Minji let them go. We will not force anyone to join. But we will not tolerate aggression either. 3 months later, Minji stood on the observation deck of the Sol, looking at Earth through the window. President Dae-hoon joined her. Do you think we did the right thing? She asked quietly. Dae-hoon was silent for a moment. We gave them a choice. They chose wrong. We gave them another choice. Most chose correctly this time. That is all we can do. We are not conquerors, Minji said. We never wanted to be. No. But we are guardians now. Whether we wanted it or not. Daehoon put a hand on her shoulder. They forced us to show our strength. Now we must use that strength wisely. In the Viridian hospitals, the medical equipment came back online. Human technicians arrived to repair and upgrade systems. Children stopped dying. Chief Medical Officer Ralthaz wept with relief and shame. On Nexus Prime, Lee Saman and her daughter returned home. The apartment was exactly as they had left it 2 years ago. Her daughter ran to her room happy to be back. Mom, can we stay this time? She asked. Saman smiled sadly. Yes, sweetheart. We can stay. Across the galaxy, the new Galactic Compact began its work. Human innovation flowed freely again. Trade resumed. Medical advances saved lives. The economy recovered and then soared beyond previous heights. But everyone remembered. The humans remembered the betrayal. The Council species remembered their defeat. And every species, human and alien alike, learned the same lesson. Peace is not weakness. Friendship rejected becomes a lesson taught. And fear, when allowed to guide decisions, creates the very danger it seeks to prevent. The Archon, retired and old now, watched the news of the Compact's success from a small home on the Kval homeworld. He had lost everything. His position, his influence, his pride. But late at night he sometimes wondered, if they had simply accepted humanity as equals from the beginning, if they had embraced human innovation instead of fearing it, what might the galaxy have become? He would never know. That possibility died the day the Council voted against Earth. And triggered their own destruction. The end.